What's going on? What's going on, everyone? How you doing today? Man, I'm excited about this conversation that we're about to have here. And man, I got some brothers here that I think are going to just really provide some dialogue to you. For those who are just joining us, welcome to the No More Hiding podcast. And this is our pillars to progress: Black men leading up, leaders uplifting communities. No, and this podcast is brought to you by No More Hiding Ministries. And I'm your host, Dr. St. Rice, the founder of No More Hiding. And I'm thrilled to have you join us for another powerful episode airing first and third Thursdays of every month. And we're right here, 8 o'clock on the time that you see right now on the station that you're joining us in. So thank you for being here. We know that you could be anywhere. We know that there is a game going on right now. And so, you know, some people are like, okay, look here, you know, it's my game is happening. But thank you for joining us. Before we dive in, let me share a little bit about who we are. No More Hiding is a progressive organization with a mission that resonates deeply in today's topic. We serve men from every economic, socioeconomic status, whether they're age, nationality, race, it don't matter, right? And we try to be a catalyst for educating and equipping and empowering men to serve, lead, and achieve their maximum potential, right? We believe that fostering healthy relationships among men worldwide and providing a space for men to discover authentic manhood. And so our aim is to engage, educate, and empower our community. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Right? In the world where headlines are often painted of challenging pictures of Black communities, we're here to shine light on the leaders who are writing a different story. These men wake up every single day with the mission as they lift, as they climb, as they break down barriers, as they build bridges for opportunities for the next generation. And their impact is not just significant, it's also inspiring and provides us some hope. Right? So we want to welcome to the stage our brothers, Brother David Hill from Stand Up Ministry, who's transforming lives through faith and action. Mr. Stewart McClain, Brother McClain of All Hoods Unite, and he's providing unity in the neighborhood through the progress of finances. Mr. Ryan Smith, Brother Smith from ABCU, who's championing the change for men, and then Brother Baba Kelly Wimbley, who's a community impactor, who's doing some great work in the IT space. So these men aren't just talking about change. Let's get this correct, all right? They're not waiting for problems to solve themselves. These men are tackling these problems head on. And from substance abuse, financial literacy, all throughout, their story is our story. And we're here to have that conversation. So as we dive into the conversation, I want you, our listeners, to imagine the ripple effect these ideas shared here today can have. We want you to remember, right, to take these insights back into our communities. We want you to think about how can we use what's being shared today to be a movement of upliftment and progress. So without further ado, man, I want to bring these brothers to the stage. I say, brothers, welcome. What's going on with you? How you doing today? Let me hear you.
All right. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yes, sir.
Man, thank you for being here today, man. And I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it is to have you. And before we get going into any conversation, I want you to introduce yourself. So the order I want you to introduce yourself is I want you to start with Brother Hill. I want you to kick us off. Tell us a little bit about who you are. After Brother Hill, Brother McClain, hey, I want you to follow right behind them. And then we got Brother Wimbley, and then pulling up in the at the end of this, right? And gonna take the baton all the way to the end. We're gonna have Brother Ryan Smith, who's gonna introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself. So come on and join us in this lead.
Yes, thank you. My name is Minister David Hill, and I'm the CEO and founder of Stand Up Ministries. And the Stand Up stands for Strength Through Adversity, Never Doubting Under Pressure. And the two most things that Stand Up really focuses on is the man and the family.
Okay, my name is Stewart McClain. I'm the founder of All Hoods Unite. Did you know in St. Louis, Missouri, the poverty rate is 19.6%? This means that nearly 1 in 5 residents lives below the poverty line, highlighting a significant need for financial literacy programs, food assistance, health resources in the area. At All Hoods Unite, we empower those facing poverty with financial literacy. We provide essential food and resources and promote global health and wellness. And I just hope you join us in creating a brighter future for families in need. That's what we about. So.
Right. Brother Wimbley, go ahead.
My name is Kelly Wimbley. I'm with Open Source IT, founder of Open Source IT. We teach technology, work with children as well as the seniors, basically bridging the digital divide in order to make sure that our community knows how to utilize technology to our benefit. And
Right.
that's it.
All right. Yeah. I love being an anchor, no doubt. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Smith. I'm a proud Black father. I am a proud member, born and raised in St. Louis City. I am also a co-founder with ABCU, which stands for About Us, by Us, Connecting Us. It's a group of Black men who got together to create a safe space for ourselves and also to utilize that space to create solutions that we have then started utilizing within our communities to make something happen.
Right. So I'm gonna tell you, brothers, relax, man, loosen up. Right. We're just gonna sit and have some dialogue. So I gotta ask you a question. Each of you all can answer this question. So tell me, what is it that motivates you, right? What's motivating you to do the work that you're doing as Black men in the community? Because remember, the title of this conversation is pillars. And so when we think about a pillar is that'll hold up a structure, right? It in itself is strong. It has the ability to carry the weight. So what's your motivation? What's giving you that push, right, to be that pillar in the community, to do the work that you're doing? Who want to join in first?
I'll go first.
All right.
It's important to me to see our community develop in whatever it could be, cultural. I mean, I have a background in numerous arenas, and I just say this just a little bit. I won't go too deep because I know.
No, take it deep, man. Take it deep. Come on.
I'm a musician. I'm an IT guy, wellness guy. I've been to school for acupuncture and massage, and I primarily focus on our community. And I saw there was a need years ago, just like many of the brothers here. And I saw many different arenas and gaps that needed to be filled. And I primarily focused on technology because I saw that as being the main thing that could bring in all the other hats that I wear, so to speak, to fill some of those gaps. The main thing is to be a coach in order to put in instill values with children, and also, like I said, bridge that digital divide, as well as bridging the divide of, I say, lack of knowledge, so that we can come together.
That's good. And what I believe is, when I'm doing what I'm doing is because of freedom. I think people need to be free financially. People need to be free, especially in the food, because how can you survive without eating? How can you survive without food? How can you survive without health and wellness? So it's good to be able to, you could talk to me all day, but if I'm hungry, I'm not listening. So when you're able to feed somebody's belly and you're able to educate them on health and wellness, and you're able to educate them on financial literacy, you're helping them to be able to have a roundabout in their lives so they can be able to be free. And that's all I'm about, is freedom. I want to see people free.
Yeah. There you go, brother.
My name is, like I said, Minister David Hill, and I have a ministry. And what my ministry focuses on, and when I say the man and the family, it goes back to exactly 7 years, 8 months. That's how long I've been clean. I'm in recovery, and I was just in a place where I wasn't happy with who I was and the things that was going on in my life. And when I say I cried out to God, some of the things that I was saying to God, I can't say to you all, but I was really upset. And then in a moment, I heard God said, "Now we can talk." And I thought I was going crazy, you know what I'm saying? And it just led from one thing to another. But the bottom line was, God has showed me what my life had became, and then he showed me another picture of what he made my life to be. And when he showed me what my life was supposed to be like, I had to leave him alone because I was like, that can't be me. I done done too much wrong. So from that point on, I asked God to do something for me because, when he showed me the first picture of myself, I just said, God, teach me to be the man you intended me to be. And from that point on, that's when I just started taking things not just personal, but it became purpose. The man and the family coming up in a single parent home and growing up in neighborhoods and, looking at a family with a man and a woman there. And then I know I only got a mom there, and it looked strange to me. There's a lot of things I didn't understand coming up as a young kid. But now today, like I said, it's my purpose, and the best definition I can give you a purpose is what God wants and what the world needs.
Right.
That's what's up, Dave. That's what's up. I guess I'll kind of piggyback on something David said, in the sense that I too am a product of a single parent household raised by my mother. That is one of my primary motivations. She raised me to value family and community. My next motivation would be my son. Not having a father around, I knew what it felt like not to have one. And I also knew the importance of having one around. I wanted to be able to learn from my experience so that my son can be able to have some things that I didn't have, and have the biggest thing that I didn't have. And that's a present father. Being around, helping him to be able to create his choices and not have choices created for him. I really lean into the philosophy. I think it goes something like, I'm not trying to change the path for my child. I'm trying to change my child to be prepared for the path. So that would be my motivation at this particular time.
All right. I love that, man. Thank you, brother. So I'm ready to jump into a couple questions. I gotta ask. Brother Wimbley, I'm gonna throw this first one at you. So tell me, how can we effectively inspire young Black men to take on leadership roles in the communities?
First of all, let them know that they already know how to see a need. Everybody knows how to see a need, and the main thing is showing them that there are tools out here. Even if it's just being, there are people out here that can shorten the path to meet those needs. So, like many of you, I'm sure all of us have had mentors, and a lot of times when we're younger, for lack of a better way of saying it, we're a bit hard-headed.
All right.
The way we think things should be done should be the way we think it is, should be. And then we find out by bumping our head too many times that the way we're going about it might be 10 steps, and a mentor, if we decided to get humble, can turn it into 2. So, I tell my sons, I have 2 sons, one's 25, one's 23, get humble or be humbled. And because the world was spinning before you got here. It's not new. It's new to you.
You mean tell me it didn't start when we came through the womb, man?
I'm just saying. Like the brother just said, I didn't have my father growing up as well. And I learned that when I was younger I said, one day I'm going to be a father. I want to be one. But I realized I don't know all of the inner workings to make that happen. I know what it looks like, what I think it is, but I don't know how to get there. You don't walk into a dojo and over a weekend become a black belt.
That's true.
But there are steps to get to be that black belt. And I think a lot of the brothers, a lot of times unfortunately, we fall for going for the image instead of the substance. And we'll take the short, what we perceive to be the short path towards it, and we'll find that it literally don't hold water, and then we'll spin our wheels. And I think with that, when we tell young brothers that I used to be you, then that levels the playing field rather than acting like it just came out the sky and into your head and you've always been this way. You know, like, you know, you talk to any martial arts instructor, they're going to say, I started out as a white belt.
You know,
And
sometimes when we think about, you know, that idea of being authentic and transparent, right? And we say, you know, I used to be you. You know, why do you think so many times as men we resist really being open and honest about, you know, our past and things of that nature? Anybody want to join in? Let's hear from Brother Ryan. What you think? I see you moving over there.
I wanted to. Can you ask the question that Kelly asked?
Yes, sure can. I say, how can we effectively inspire young Black men to be leaders in our community?
Okay, so my approach is and for those that know me, I will push I will push the boundaries a little bit, but I really see our approach being we have to, as older people, have to become better at being better listeners. I think we feel like we've been down this road, we know it all. When problems come up, we're quick to point fingers. We have to be better at the balance. As we were coming up, I can recall when hip hop popped off and all the older people told us that this wouldn't be this and all that other type of stuff, and we were pushed back. We have to be able to create a platform that is attractive enough for the younger generation. And the best way to do that is to be able to create a picture that does not just include how I did it, but how it is that they can do it. They need to see themselves in that frame. If they see themselves in that frame, then they will want to become part of the solution. If they feel like we're just forcing something on them, which is usually our hindsight, which does not match their today. Because as much as we can say we done been through it all before, trust me, I'll be the first one to tell you the way that these youngsters are living right now in regards to technology and everything else, this is not how I grew up, you know? So it's a very different today. So for us to keep saying like we've been there before, we know it, or, you know, no, we don't know it. This is a different thing. Bullying was very different when we came up. You know what I'm saying? True. Bullying was somebody physically touching you.
Exactly.
I think I would probably take somebody physically punching me in my arm as opposed to exposing me on the internet where it would be forever. You get what I'm saying? It's a very different today. And in order to get them there, we have to make sure that they feel like they are part of the solution.
Man.
If I can glean
go ahead, Brother Stewart. Go ahead, Brother McClain.
And if I can glean off of that, and that's so real. I think it's good for us to be able to listen, to learn, and to affirm. We have to begin to listen to what the children are saying, you know, what they're saying to us, what's their aches, what's their pains, what's their hurts. Then I'm not going to just listen to you, but I'm going to learn more about what you're talking about. So show me what's going on. You know, I want to be able to have the knowledge so I can be able to affirm the situation. So I could be able to let you know, okay, they are bullying online, but I don't want you to go online and follow them. Why don't you block that?
Yeah.
You know, why don't you block this situation or this circumstances? You know, my daughter, she went through things like that, and we had to just tell her, like, hey, you got to block people. You know, you can't let people discourage you. And I had to affirm her and build her up and let her know that everything will be okay. You know, and that's what you have to do, even talking to kids these days. Like you said, technology is so vast, but a lot of people don't want to catch on. You know, a lot of people, I don't want to know about that social media stuff. I don't want to know about this. I don't want to know about that. Why? Is what you don't know can hurt you, but what you do know will empower you.
Yeah, right? I love it.
So you want to be empowered so you can be able to empower them and they can apply what's being applied. And when they apply it, what happens is the power of knowledge begins to be released.
I love what Stewart said. I love what Stewart said. I want to add something to that too. It's not just about empowering, though. It's also empowering plus making them accountable.
Yes.
Right? I don't want us to skip that part. We all have to be accountable. It's not like we're trying to hold their hands and prevent them from learning the life ups and downs, right? Because we want them to be better as they get older. We think we are, but if we all had to do it again, how many of us would really do it differently?
Tell me about it. I can tell you the date and the time when I'd have done it.
And I'd just like to add one more thing, to add on to what my man said. In the very first part of me, mentoring somebody into leadership, I will explain the difference between what a boss is and what a leader is. A boss wants to run it all, but a leader, if you put a room full of leaders in a room, you won't know who's in charge. So what I'm saying is, a leader goes out and he does the work and he shows people the work that he's doing, and he's a doer. And he's not just somebody that's sitting back in the cut, calling shots.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's so true, because leadership reminds me of a tree, and the tree is strong, right? And it begins to produce fruit. So leaders always produce.
Yeah.
Because leaders build. Managers manage, so they try to find the wrong in you. Leaders trying to find the good in you.
Yeah. One thing my wife and we oftentimes talk about is we're going to eat what we grow, right? And so whatever we plant, whatever we're cultivating and nurturing, that's what we're going to eat. And sometimes we don't want to recognize that, right? So if I'm planting crap, if I'm planting, laziness and all that other stuff, that's what I'm going to eat. But if I'm planting being intentional, if I'm planting, having integrity, having character, things like that, that's what I'm gonna eat of. That's what I'm gonna grow, right? I'm gonna grow whatever the seed is. So it's critical, man. These conversations are critical to have. I'm gonna shift it just a little bit. And Brother Dave, he talked about his history with substance abuse, right? So I'm gonna ask a question. What strategies have been most successful in addressing substance abuse recovery in the Black community? You are by your own rights, right? You're somewhat of an expert in this area, and doing some really good work in the St. Louis region. So talk to me about, what are some of the things that you think are really effective with addressing this issue of substance abuse?
You see, I had to take a deep breath first, because this is man, this work here is it's never ending. There's no one or two ways that you can approach in drug and using drugs and recovering it and getting clean, because man, I can honestly say, man, it took me 99 times. On the 99th time, I got it. For each and every individual, it's something that clicks on the inside. And when you have a made up mind, I don't care if you don't have all the tools or you don't have everything you need. All you know is that you're not going to ever use again. And like I said, that was a long fight for me. But in the same sense, for number one, St. Louis need more drug centers.
Okay.
Yeah. Number two, we're dealing with a whole nother level of drugs now, because you had your this, and you had your that. Now fentanyl is in every single thing that's out there, and this fentanyl is, man, it is, I can't even find the right words, man. The drug recovery and really saving a person's life. That's a lot. Listen. And what I'm doing, I'll just be getting a good start, and then I'll die. It's really it's a conversation that we can continuously have on a daily basis. But the one thing that's for sure, just to never give up on them, because I know what it was like to be trapped. I tell, I'm a spiritual counselor at the Salvation Army. And I tell the guys, I say, yeah, I can structure myself, and we can talk about the 15% of the drug problem, which was the using, but I'd rather talk about the 85% of how you change your thinking. So You know, man, I could go on and on and on and on and on. But the number one thing in St. Louis is that we don't have enough drug facilities.
Ryan, I think that speaks into your world, man, as a community health worker and a social worker. Bring it on. I saw you over there itching.
No, I was man. Right. Shout out to David and Salvation Army, bro. Salvation Army is one of the few that we do have. Man, I got so much I can say on that. I'm gonna try my best to keep it as short as I possibly can. David, I'm so proud of you, my guy, for not quitting. Like you said, 99 times. There's so many times that I know so many people who've, just gave up, right? So shout out to you, man, because I know that journey is difficult. When it comes to the drug world, you are like the black man is not properly represented when it comes to this. If you want to, I don't know the exact numbers, but I can tell you this: black men are dying at a very different rate in the St. Louis City area than anybody else. And at the same time, what David alluded to is that those same inpatient treatment programs are dying out as well. So I can remember growing up, and you can go somewhere and be in treatment for 30, 45 days at a time or whatever. I'm not going to stand on it, but as far as I know, there can only be probably about that take people with no insurance, 3 or 4 of them in the city.
Yep.
One of them I know for sure is Queen of Peace, which only takes women. The other 2, Salvation Army, that I know for certain, they're co-ed. So think about how that takes down. And we're talking probably 16 beds a piece. That sound about right, David?
I work at the long-term treatment over on Vanderbilt and Forest Park, so it's a 6 months program. So we have 100 beds over there, but we barely filling up 50 beds.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very the problem is that I think, and this is just my opinion, I think what happens is that people start trying to create a band-aid that they think is going to cover all cuts. Right. So when you start talking about bringing in Suboxone, which I have a lot of love for Suboxone, but based upon social determinants, everybody's social determinants are not the same.
Exactly.
You can be struggling with addiction and live in Chesterfield and not have to worry about a meal, not have to worry about getting to work, not have to worry about all those other types of things. But I could be suffering from the same type of heroin and live in the city, and I have to step over the same person that I just got through using. It's a very different approach. And I think it becomes a problem when we try to make one thing fit all.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, man. And I knew you brothers were going to jump into this. So I got to bring Brother Stewart into this conversation, man, because he's doing some great work out there in the entrepreneur and the finance area. So, Brother Stewart, quick question. What are some effective models for promoting entrepreneurship and small business ownership in the Black community? So when you're thinking about this idea of financial planning, because you're all hoods unite is kind of leading the way and doing some innovative things to really impact us in the area of finances. So talk to us a little bit, man.
Yeah, what I think we have to partner with people. We have to partner and be in collaboration with people that's in the incubators, that's have access to microloans. I just
talk to us a little bit about that. I know you deep in this, so you might have to break it down for individuals that really kind of get it. What does that mean?
Incubators are say like I went through a program through Harris Stowe for nonprofit organizations. It was a 10-week program, and afterwards you graduate from the program. So they teach you about how to be able to put your business together, how to be able to launch your nonprofit and things like that. Even though we've been going on for 4 years, I learned a whole lot, and I was able to meet other entrepreneurs that were in the business. And now I just signed up for another cohort, and it's 6 months. So I got to go once a week for 6 months, you know. And also even at my full-time employment, I teach entrepreneurship, and I deal with the justice involved.
Okay.
That's what I facilitate, sign them up for anger management classes, drug and alcohol. I really am passionate about seeing them win. So I'm teaching a cohort right now. It's for 8 weeks, and we're in our 6th week right now. And I'm just so excited about it. But we have to be able to give them education. We bring in bankers even I have an upcoming seminar called I'm an Overcomer coming up, and we have a financial person coming to be able to teach in the seminar. It'll be October the 5th, but so I'm excited about being able to bring resources to people and let them know that, hey, you can be an entrepreneur, because people think that the federal government causes economic advancement. No, it's small businesses. Most of us, if we work a job, we work for small businesses because they keep the economy moving and flowing. So when they begin to start a small business and they work on a pitch, your pitch is when you begin to tell people about your business. They have pitch competitions out here. You can tell, you got to know your business within 30 seconds, right? You can win $25,000. Sometimes you can win $5,000. Sometimes you can win $10,000 by American Express or other people that's connected. It's a lot of resources out here.
Okay.
That will be able to help and empower us, but we don't know. And I'm here to educate people. And I'm here to let them know what they need to do to get to the next step so they can be able to prosper. Because even when you go through incubators and stuff at times, sometimes they'll give your organization money. They'll give $1,000, $5,000 just by going through the program. And a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know until I began to get the knowledge and really began to take entrepreneurship seriously. I always was in entrepreneurship ever since I was pretty young, but I used to own a fitness center in Florissant, Missouri.
Okay.
Champion International Fitness Center. I have I've been a serial entrepreneur, but now I'm just focused on my nonprofit, and also I write books. So I have 8 books out, and I'm a public speaker. So, you just got to get people out here and let them know, hey, you could do a keynote. Go volunteer with keynote, people that do keynotes. Go give them water. Next thing you know, you're doing a keynote for 30 minutes and you're getting $15,000.
Yeah.
Because you just did a keynote for Spectrum.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's 3 ways to be able to get in the room. You either volunteer, you pay to get in the room, or you get a mentor.
One of the things, you all know that I'm a criminologist, right? And so one of the things that I think about is this idea of social conflict theory. And the social conflict theory says that society is a place of inequality, right? So in our societal structures, especially in marginalized communities, right, there's so much inequity, and there's so much, and this inequity creates a conflict. In other words, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. You said go to school, I go to school. You said good grades, I get good grades. You say follow the law, I follow the law. All this, right? And it seems like I can't get ahead. It seems like I can't get a loan, I can't get a shake, whatever the case is. But yet and still you say, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? Which creates this space of frustration, right? So how do we help men who are dealing with this point of frustration? Say, man, I'm trying to do everything I can, but it ain't nothing happening, ain't nothing going on, right? How do we help? What do we do?
I think, to be honest, they just have to keep pushing. And also, we just have to provide them with the resources that's going to be able to help them to get it what they need. I mean, if they need food, okay, I'm going to get you a food resource. If they need to be in entrepreneurship, I'm going to connect you with an entrepreneur. If they need employment, I'm going to connect you with an employment specialist. Mm-hmm. We're giving them the resources they need. And if they feel like giving up, we have to tell them, you can't give up. You got to keep pushing. Things will get better after a while, and we got to let people know our stories. I could have gave up at times in my life when I went through devastation, or I went through heartache, or I went through setbacks. But one of my friends told me when I was younger, he said, man, I'm set back for a comeback. You can bend me, but you can't break me. I'm like a palm tree. I always come back.
You always come back. That's it. It sounds like you need an organ, man. I hear you. I hear him coming out.
Hey, I'm excited about it,
Man, tell me about it. I see some you brothers. It sounds like some of you all was kind of chiming in on that. I saw some heads nodding. Anybody want to jump in on that question? What about this frustration that we sense among, in our community, right? And this issue that we have going on with, man, I'm trying to do the right thing, but it seems like it ain't paying off. Well, how are we dealing with that?
Well, You know, I can relate to that. You know, it comes with you know, with me being a spiritual counselor at the Salvation Army. You know, one thing I notice about, you know, a classroom full of men is most of them are in this position, and that means I'm shit. I ain't gonna talk too much. I ain't gonna say too much. I ain't gonna let you in. I'll be glad when this is over with. You know, so you know, one of the number one things is that as a man, we have a lot of internal stuff going on, and we don't know how to get it out. We don't know how to share it because, first of all, we don't trust anybody. So we need to be in a room where we can trust people, because what we talk about stay here and don't go nowhere else. So we have a lot of stuff that's going on. Well, I won't say we, but man, listen, man, I have so much stuff inside of me that I didn't know that was going on until I started talking about it, until I started sharing. You know, it's some things that, you know, I can only talk to a man about that I won't talk to a woman about. You know what I'm saying? It's some things that, you know, I just I ain't sure if I want to share this with you. So just let me hold this in. But the best thing about it is that the more you talk, the more you get out, the more you open up, and the more you can become who you were born and made to be.
That's it, man. I appreciate that.
I want to jump on that one too, but I love to hear Kelly. Kelly, you got something, bro?
Yeah, you know, back to that, we don't trust, and there's reasons why we don't trust. Everybody know why. I mean, I'm from the time you 4 or 5 years old, somebody telling you to man up. You 5. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's like somebody walking to a dojo and you expect to be a black belt overnight. You know, it's like you automatically supposed to know how to handle things, how to, instead of somebody taking you, especially for us, if we didn't have fathers, I say that. And your father can only take you as far as he know, you know. And so I tell my sons, if you only went as far as arithmetic, if I had only went as far as arithmetic, I'm not going to be the one helping you with your algebra homework. You know what I'm saying? So same thing happens with us emotionally, with our emotional intelligence and being able to convey things to each other. So I used to tell my sons, look, it's okay for you to cry because God put tear ducts in your eyes just like he did a little girl. But because you're a boy in this world, the world's going to treat you different if you shed tears over something. Now, the thing is if somebody puts their hands on you, I'm going to teach you how to fight for your right to cry, which is different than you better stop crying and all this other stuff. You know, give them a fight for your right to be human. Now, it may not change the situation as to what you're crying about, but you change you. And so I see many people drinking, drugging, whatever, because they did not know how to handle those emotions, and they're around people who did not know how to help them with that at an early stage, because they didn't know how to do it themselves. So all they knew was how to pass on what they knew. They didn't mean you no harm, but it was the best of what they knew at the time. The best of what they knew at the time. You know, and a lot of us, I'll even say for us being part of that hip hop generation, when everything went thug, gangster, started out gangster, then went thug, right? At least gangster meant you was organized, but thug don't. Okay. I mean, you know, and so a lot of guys are emulating people they thought was an adult on the outside, but wasn't on the inside. And the guy who really knew he didn't know was basically putting on a role, and he got benefits with that role. Yeah, you didn't know he was putting on a role. You know, so a lot of that got passed on. You know, and then eventually we get to be old and realize we can only go so far with that role. You know, and I see all the brothers sitting here. We've all experienced that.
That's true.
On some level, but we had to, you know, like I said, be humble to get humble. And on some, we got humbled, you know, and then fortunate for us, you know, we learned from it. You know,
life will humble you, won't it?
Yeah. You know, it'll let you know what you're made out of, you know.
It's true.
You know?
Ryan, I see you rocking, man. What's going on?
You have to stop putting me in that situation. I'm trying to share. So the question was, what do we think needs to happen in order for us to help? I think it was something like that, right?
Yeah.
I love the answers that I've heard. If there was something that I would throw into it, and I'm kind of glad that I chose to go after Kelly because it leans more to what he said. What I heard Stewart say was about the resources, and I do believe that. Mm-hmm. The thing that I think that needs to happen before that is we need to address our mind frame. If we don't address our mind frame, even with the resources, we're just repeating maybe in a different way, right? I think when I say address the mind frame, we have to learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable around each other as men. So that means if I am in a room and someone is struggling and that person wants to be able to emotionally let go, we have to start reframing the narrative, right? And it's not just about the men, it's the women as well, right? Yeah. Because there are certain things that we have as social norms now, especially in our culture, that I don't even see in some of the other cultures, right?
Exactly. Yes.
If you see let's say a 21-year-old who is, kind of trying to figure it out, but he lives at home with his parents, there's a certain teasing that goes along with that. And what happens from that is that now we try to do something to speed up the process in order for me to move out. And now I'm moving out without a plan. And now I'm living check to check. And we have so many of those scenarios for us that we have to change, such as the one that I personally have a problem with, is that a woman can't raise a boy to be a man. When we tell our families that, we're already giving the boy a built-in excuse of why it is that I shouldn't even try. Or now we're leaning into our women and telling them that they're not good enough, which prompts some to go out and link up with someone who is very not fit.
Unfit. Yes, I know what you was. Yes,
right. We have to reshape that narrative in order to change our mindset before we become ready for those resources. Because let's be realistic, resources are available in a very different way all over the place. But as we stated before, if we're not educated enough to know, or LinkedIn, I think it was Stewart, you were like naming some people that were, accessible to. Like if I don't know those people to be able to be the mentors, and I'm not saying that you can't, because just like some people who are saying, well, I became a drug dealer because, that's all I saw. No, it's not. It's not the only thing you saw. It's the only thing you chose to put some interest into and learn about. So we always have choices. Choices will forever be ours. But based upon your decisions in those choices, some of your choices start allowing other people to be a part of your decision making. And so I'm back to what I'm saying about we need to be able to start changing our mindset so we can be ready for those resources so that we can start taking better advantage of them. Because the reality is that this race will never be fair, because we will never catch up, because they're never going to stop.
Man, you're talking about something that's near and dear to my heart when we talk about the systemic inequities, right? And we talk about the challenges and, that we as a people, as a people of color, Black people, who, when we shifted over here, right? And everything was very intentional. It was intentional to destroy our image and destroy our language and destroy our connection and destroy our home and destroy the order in our home, right? Something that we knew, something that we already had figured out. We had civilizations built that still stand, and we had it figured out. But when you remove a person from, you remember that tree, you remove them, right? And you start to put them in an environment where the seed is nothing but negativity. Then you start to see exactly what's happening, right? And so, and this systemic issue has us thinking that it's our issue, that it's just in our community, right? And it's the actions that's happening right here, right now is the problem. But we don't want to look way back and see how very intentional these acts were to create these problems in our community. And that's not alleviating our accountability or our responsibility, but it really is about really understanding, the whole picture and really getting a view of this whole picture of what we're struggling with in our community. Many times, and I got a question, but many times I think about this, and if you ever get a chance, you go up to Springfield, Illinois, and Abraham Lincoln Museum, and it's a decent space, right, for a quick day trip. But when you first walk in, the first thing you see, right, is you see a black man in chains, you see a black woman in chains, and you see the children trying to hold on, and who you see surrounding them are the slave masters, pulling them apart. That's a picture. That's a picture of really what we're dealing with, and we've not been able to really regroup or find that unity that's necessary to create the type of society that we know we should have, because it's in us. That's our desire. It's really our desire to have strong, healthy relationships and marriages and safe communities and things of that nature. But brothers, I'm telling you, when I jump on that's passion of mine. But I'm not here to do all the talking, Brother Wimbley. It's something I got to bring you in this conversation, man, because you talk about something that I think is very important. And when we talk about trust, we talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about emotions, right? But many of us have not experienced the rites of passage. I need you to bring that into this space for us, man, and talk about the impact of going through rites of passage and how that really has an influence on you, as well as what you see what it does for our community.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was my mother had me in. I was a Cub Scout, Weeblo, Boy Scout, Explorer. I was all of that. I only stuck with Explorers because girls could be in it. I was a teenager. Anyway, so, but the thing was is that I didn't realize at the time that was a rites of passage. Now, mind you, you move forward into the years later, when I started reading more about our history and culture and things like that, I realized I needed something that was more grounded in us. So I put myself in a group that was here in St. Louis that was more Pan-Africanist.
Okay.
And they taught us things like a people are people that they feed, house, clothe, medicate, educate, transport, defend, and entertain for themselves. And they all have we have a style in which we do that. We have you have predictability of behavior as a culture. And in that rites of passage, you learn that there are stages of development for when you were a child to, say when you're a toddler or a baby or a toddler and you go all the way up. They taught certain things that the men needed to know, certain things that the women needed to know. Okay. Now, mind you, everybody kind of tweaks stuff along the way as individuals, but you know what the core is. It's kind of like everybody play Monopoly, but at somebody's house they put money on free parking and other people they don't. So you got your own style, but you know what a root is. Okay, and it pulled from different systems. Well, I'll just say this: the organization found commonalities throughout Africa. Okay. And they found that in African societies, and I'm gonna let y'all play African percussion as well. In African percussion, most drums are in families.
Okay.
You have a father drum, mother drum, and a baby drum. Throughout Africa, it's like that. Daddy drum is bassier. Daddy ain't got to say a whole lot to mean it. Mama drum is always playing. Okay. Baby drum follows what mama drum say and daddy drum. Okay. And that is a theme throughout all of Africa. Okay. That bass, when we hear that bass, that's telling your feet what to do. And all our music. Okay. Mama drum, that's more upper body movement. Okay. Baby drum might be something what your hands are doing or something like that, little nuanced stuff. Okay. We've kept that going in our music, but we didn't necessarily know the root of why we do those things. And I learned a lot of that from doing rites of passage. So I just to let you know, okay, I had my sons go through rites of passage. Okay. And they taught things like when a baby is born, we don't give them a name immediately.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, my sons they had the same name for 3 months. And my sons are 2 years apart. Okay. So in the tradition, the fathers come together and bring everybody together. Say it could be 2 months, 3 months after the baby's born.
Okay.
Kind of like women have a baby shower. This would be the male equivalent of a baby shower.
All right.
Okay. The men organize everything. I only get other brothers to help me with this. Okay. And that solidifies what our role is. The mother does nothing but hold the baby, breastfeed at best. She don't even get a plate of food for herself. Okay. Everything. Now, mind you, this is an event. This ain't the program. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an event. But it's but the thing is that it sets a precedence. Now I'm gonna let you know when my sons got to be a little bit older, around middle school, a buddy of mine who learned we were in the same rites of passage, and he had another child. And my sons were watching, and they go, "Dad, did you do that with me, with the baby? Like, you put like in that tradition, you put salt on the baby's lips so they know the salty times in life. These are all symbolic, honey on the baby's lips so they know about the sweet times and that kind of thing. But the whole community is watching this, and my son sat back and he's watching. He's like, "Dad, you did that with me?" I said, "And you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna do the same thing." Now, both of them think this is how it's supposed to be in terms of their role. Okay. And so the thing is, they go, this real defined. I can tell you, in a sense, my son's backs are straighter on certain things than mine was at their age. It's very clearly defined in their head. Like I remember my son saying there was something that happened, and he said, "Dad, of course you do such and such." Of course, he's like 12. Now I knew that was not a course for me. Now I would have been one of those fake it till you make it type people, and they made it look like I knew what was going on. But he was crystal clear. This is how I'm supposed to do certain things at this stage of my life. And I sat back and went, wow, that was not me. But because of those, having him kind of both of them go through a rites of passage, it was defined by the community that this is what you gonna do. This is who you are. And it wasn't nothing outlandish. It ain't like they had walk a grease tightrope over Niagara Falls blindfolded for manhood. It was the basic stuff that everybody got to do. It's just the community as well as home is reaffirming it, and I'm a firm believer that we need that. And the main reason I say that is because most cultures perpetuate what works. Nobody been doing something for 1,000 years if it didn't work. Now, I'm not saying everything was perfect, whatever that is, but they will perpetuate what works, And there's going to be people who are going to be a little different in between, but for the most part, to maintain the society, you're going to do what works, and it's going to be consistent. You're going to know how much you own it and how much you're deviating, instead of everybody just being all over the place and hope that it comes together. So anyway, I mean, you can tell I'm passionate about this stuff, but I can tell you, when I look at my sons, my oldest is 25. I just picked him up from the airport today. And the boy travels the world. And I planted those seeds when they were little, saying, you're gonna see the world. Whatever you learn, you're gonna bring it back home. I started saying that when they was 2-3 years old. And that is exactly what both of them do.
That's it.
The power of knowing the value of being a mother and a father is so. And I'm always telling stories. I'm sure I'm among storytellers. I can tell. So is that I tell my children and I tell students that I teach that, in particular young parents, if all I did was open up a can of SpaghettiOs and add salt and pepper to it, and that's your first experience with spaghetti, you're gonna think that's how it's supposed to be. If I take you to Italy when Italians start making you spaghetti, you're gonna be like, I don't know what these Italians are doing. Well, my daddy and my mom make spaghetti in O's.
That's it. Uh-huh.
Y'all ain't, because that was their first introduction to the concept. Now, and I tell young parents, if you playing nonsense with 4-letter words every syllable in a hip hop song or whatever, they gonna know that that's what home is.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my mama listening to Al Green, Earth, Wind and Fire, and Frankie Beverly Mays. That is my point of reference. I don't remember any 4-letter. I can't even think of cursing around my mom.
Yeah.
Or I would when music would play, I would turn it off. At 56, I would turn it off.
That's true. Yeah.
To this day.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of that has been eroded over the years. No, I know I'm preaching to the choir because everybody here knows that. But letting these young folks know that our kids have more time to watch us than we have time to watch them as parents.
Mm. That's it, man.
So,
I'm telling you, you was dropping some jewels there, man, and really just educating us. And I think that's important in our community, right? Is that we get those varying perspectives about, about things that's related to our heritage and our culture.
yes.
So I want to bring Brother Ryan in here and ask him a specific question. And then what I'm going to ask our audience to do, because I know you're listening, is I'm going to ask you to drop in some questions for our panel, right? This is live. So you're listening in. We want to bring you on the stage. So we're going to ask you to please, in your chat, first of all, we're going to ask you to subscribe to the channel. Whatever channel, go to our YouTube channel, No More Hiding for Men, NMH for Men, right? And subscribe to our channel. But then I'm going to ask you also, put in questions. We want to answer some questions right off the flip, right? Fresh off the wire. So put in your questions, your thoughts, things like that. And we're going to dedicate the last 15 minutes of this conversation to just answering your questions. So feel free to join us. But Ryan, before we get to that, community health workers, right? A lot of people don't even know about the community health workers and the things that's being done out there. So I'm going to ask you to educate us about the community health workers. Who are they? What are they doing? What's the impact of the work that's being done out in the St. Louis community? And not just St. Louis, but across the country, right? Talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, across the world. So give the short version, because I definitely want to be able to leave enough for people to want to know more and reach out, and we can give more. But in this short amount of time, I definitely want to try to just put something in your mind. Basically, what we've done is we've been creating a new workforce, community health workers. Everybody hears the word health and think that it's just about being in health, when in actuality, we're starting to place individuals within our communities who have lived experiences into some types of training, to get them certified as a community health worker. From then, they're able to be credentialed, and now we're able to enable them to be employed in very different spaces that typically some of our CHWs would not have been. We lean into the philosophy of inside out, meaning we are no longer trying to approach addressing our community by just relying on outside agencies and organizations. We would much rather try to empower the people within our organizations and go outward. We address leaders. We spoke about that a little bit earlier. And one of the things I definitely would have added to that is that we have to be open enough to realize that all leaders don't look the same. They don't fall into the same categories. It has always bothered me that, whenever they talk about like a basketball player, everybody just thinks that a leader is supposed to be, clear cut focused and this is what a champ looks like. Our community has so many different colors of hues with different people in different styles. And we have to be open enough to receive them because when we go out and try to recruit people to be community health workers, we're not just looking at those that are doing the good in our community. We'll go to the block. The leaders exist in that space as well. And we want to be able to put them on a path that changes things up. We're trying to utilize community health workers to reshape our communities by building and leaning on the leadership that is already within our communities. We've created entrepreneurship approaches, mentorship. We've been doing a lot of different things with that. So I would love to speak about this in a different space, but I know we're a little short on time, and I definitely want to kind of get to some of the other questions. But thank you for that opportunity to share.
Most definitely. So our first question, fellas, I want you to think about it. What has been your most challenging experience as a Black man?
Well, I probably get excuse me, I probably can answer that.
Okay.
Well, really, sometimes we go through as men different things, especially when you have kids and stuff like that, and then you have to deal with the child support system. I went through that, I went through that, man, having to deal with the system, and you're trying to make it in life, and it's taking your money and things of that nature. And then the courts are not fair,
No, not at all.
They're definitely not fair towards you or to you. And they try to demoralize you. I remember one time I went to court, and I was like, I'm gonna take this to trial, because you all are trying to take too much from me. They told me if I do try, they're gonna have me to go contempt of court. But they're gonna lock me up because I wanted a trial. And that was really hard for me. I love my kids. I always took care of my kids and did everything for them throughout, even having to pay child support. I still did for them. I still love them, and even to this day, whatever they need, I'm there for my children, because I believe a father should be there. My dad, I was raised two-parent home, and I learned how to be a man. I learned structure. I learned what men are all about, and women. I know feminine energy from man energy, and I think that's one thing that really hinders people in the Black community. That system, it presses you down, man. It's like it tries to keep you incarcerated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We had an episode a while back, and we looked at that. We talked about that issue of child support, which is really a civil issue, right? It's not even a criminal issue; it's a civil issue that has evolved to a criminal status because that's one more barrier that's created, right? Now, we're not talking about brothers who are out there that's dropping these babies and not taking care of responsibility and just being, just being complacent. We're talking about men, and a lot of men who are out there want to be in their child's life or doing what it takes, is paying. One brother who shared his story on that particular podcast, he talked about the only thing that saved him was the fact that he was a photographer and he had all these pictures of his children and being involved in their life and things like that. And he took that to court with them. And when the judge saw this, because the other party was saying he wasn't this, that, and the other, and the judge actually saw this, right? And the judge was like, this man is active. He's there from day one. He's been a part of his child's life or whatever. And that was the only saving grace. There was another brother who talked about actually having to defend himself in courts. And oftentimes we're afraid of getting in that court system. We're afraid to actually deal with it and go into it because we're not taught how to navigate. One of the things we do with No More Hiding Ministry is we teach brothers how to navigate that court. We teach them how to go in that court and understand the lingo and understand, the structure of it and how you need to present yourself and things of that nature. Now, we ain't got no money to help you with, with financing it, but we will educate you, and make sure that you're ready for it. Brother Dave, I see your hand, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. But and it's a flip side to what you are saying too. And the flip side is, you take somebody like myself who was active in drug use for 30 years, and I messed everything up. So now I'm trying to repair relationships with my daughters and my sons, and it's hard. I'm talking about, man, that's a really hard piece, man. That's a piece, man, that just have to take a deep breath, because I understand what you're saying, but I think I just had to share that other side, man. Even though I'm in my purpose and I'm going forward now, and I'm going straight ahead, but there's personal issues, man, and that main personal issue, which is what I do and I structure, is the family piece, man. That's the most important piece to a humanity. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to, share that, man, because man, it's rough, man. It really is.
That's it. Yeah, man. Go ahead, Brother Kevin.
Yeah, I just want to say, we parent from where we at, and your children only know you based on where you at, and I did some work for Father Support Center. I was teaching brothers IT there, and I heard so many stories, man, that shoot, the stories I heard, man, I have nothing to complain about. You know what I mean? I'll just keep it real. And some of the things I saw brothers go through, and mind you, sometimes you only hear one side, but that doesn't change that those brothers in that program in order to see their children. That's the prerequisite, that you have to have a child that you want to be connected to. And they may not have known what they needed to know when the baby was born or 5 years after, but the thing is they want to be part of it because that child is looking for them too.
Yeah.
They know that as immaculate as a conception is, they were not an immaculate conception. You know what I mean? So, so they know there's somebody that's half a DNA. They got half of somebody's DNA. So the thing is that, those brothers come into that program in order to sharpen themselves for when it isn't just a matter of seeing their child. They wind up learning a lot of the skills that they need to know. Yeah. Whether it be with the court system and or just what they need to know about themselves and what that child is going to probably need from them. Yeah. And as the brother said, his brother David Hill said, man, I appreciate you saying that, what you said, man, because that part right there is so vital, because people make it look like, okay, they're there, and okay, and everybody's all, it's going to be all ice cream and cake and this, that, and other. And there's so much work to do.
That's true.
There's so much work to do, and learning to recognize that you're going, as a parent, you have to do a lot of listening.
Yeah. Listening is a skill.
Yeah, exactly. And an elder taught me, we have 2 ears and 2 eyes and 1 mouth for a reason.
That's it.
and you're going to have to do a lot of that. I'll say, even as tight as me and my sons were, my youngest son had an issue with something that I always felt this little bit of tension. And one day I said, whatever this is, son, I need you to say it. I'm going to allow you to use 4-letter words. And he let him fly. But because I let him do that, it let me know how deep it was.
Yeah, that's true.
In him. And I didn't know. And I said, well, first of all, son, I'm just going to and this is emotional intelligence speaking. I'm sorry I hurt you. Point blank, not this is what was going on and da-da-da-da-da and all that, because that's really where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And he heard, and he could hear that, and he received it. We can talk about everything the man was, some stuff I might not want to hear, but I mean something, but but that leveled the playing field. Because he knew it was heard. And that's what that's what I perceive, brother, that you were saying, is that we that part of it is vital. Because a lot of our kids right now, they're acting out, just like we did, and that's to be seen, and a lot of times they bring it left in such a way that you like, wait a minute. That mean you ain't ready. It don't mean they ain't ready. They running around in it. You run it. You're the adult, and they going to test to see how adult you are, because I know mine did a little bit. So understand our work is cut out for us, man. Our work is cut out for us.
That's true. It's a question on the screen. Go ahead, Brother Brian.
I just wanted to throw something else in that because there's been touched on some things. And the question, I guess, originally was that, what do we find toughest? What's the toughest experience in being a Black man? Most challenging. Okay. So being in the social service field as a community health worker and a social worker for about 30 years at this point in time, I'm in the community a lot. And I often see grants and ideas often being created around the youth. what has become the forgotten population is the Black man 35 and older. And when we talk about all the things when it comes to the youth, it's always brought back to, was the father in the home? Was the father in the home?
Mhm.
Don't create enough for that particular demographic,
That's true.
because the narrative basically writes us off. If you hadn't gotten it by now, you're not going to get it.
That's
If you
true.
serve time in jail, whatever happens, you should be grateful for. The biggest challenge is not just that narrative. My biggest challenge is to have conversations over and over again with Black men like us and fail in convincing them that we together are enough. We don't come together enough to do the work that could probably eliminate most of the need that we think builds a community.
Absolutely.
I struggle with that, because even when you were talking about, sir, talking about going to Lincoln's Place and all of those images in their place, right? We have Black owned businesses. We can start creating our own images again.
Yes.
We have the power within ourselves to really start changing our blocks one at a time. A small investment here or there, not just in monetary, gifts, but also in time. Dedicate the time. Let us get together and put a floor together so that we can start building some of these tore down houses back up, right? We have the power to do a lot of the things that we need for us. But if we don't change the narrative again to start believing in ourselves, then, this goes back to accountability.
It's true.
And it's tough for me to really listen to somebody when they say, well, the white man did this and set me up. And I'm like, so you saw the trap and you still stepped in it? Like, I can't keep going with that.
You heard the shots and still around that corner.
Hey, look, we keep telling our cohort, our peers and other people that are listening that we are the smartest people. We are the strongest people. We have to start behaving like that on a consistent basis. And the only way that's going to happen is if we begin to start leaning more on ourselves. I can't live in a place where I can't trust whether or not I can leave my window open. We have to be able to live amongst ourselves and be comfortable enough so we can start raising these communities back up, business by business, school by school. We have the power to do that, and yet we continue to make different choices.
That's it. Man, this has been a great conversation. I told you all it was going to fly by, man. I told you. So as we get ready to close out our conversation, I want to throw this question out there as you create your closing, right? No, and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, but you may want to add something after the dialogue that you had earlier. And so I want you to think about this question that's on the screen and respond to it how you choose. And then I want you to give a final closing thought, right? Give a final closing thought that you believe can help resonate with those who may listen to this, whether they're listening to it at midnight tonight or 3 days or 3 years from now, right? Let's give that final thought. I'm going to start with Brother McClain. Join us in this table.
Okay. And what was your question again? Can you add, what was your question again?
So the question is, what is your why when it comes to the work you do and the life you live? And so after you answer that, I want you to give us your final thought.
Okay. My why is, like I said in the beginning, freedom. I just want people to be able to have health. Health represents to me wholeness, and that's in every area of their lives. When you're whole, you're able to be a better citizen and a better person. And my final thought is, a caterpillar will never realize what a butterfly is if it never become it. So make sure you become the butterfly that you need to be in this world to make an impact and a change.
Right, man. Thank you for being here tonight. Brother Wimbley, Baba Wimbley, I'm gonna ask you the same question. What is your why when it comes to the work you do and the life you live? And then give us that final thought.
My why is to elevate my family and the community around me. That's why I do what I do. And there's an African proverb that I seem to live by, and I make it an addendum to it. To stumble is not to fall, but to move forward faster. As you learn from it, this is my addendum. Stop tripping.
Man, I'm telling you, thank you for being here today, man. It just added to the conversation today. Man, Minister David Hill, what's your why when it comes to the work you do and the life you live? And give us that final thought.
My why is because of everything in my past that I was really confused about. That not that I know everything now, but I'm getting a better understanding of, first of all, of who I am, and that's what I want to be, and that's what I want to do as far as in the man and the family, to help men understand who they are first before they take any other further steps into the next whatever it comes their way. And that other question you asked,
Final thought. Give us a
final
reflection, something that somebody can hold on to going forward.
Man, I'm just, my purpose is I'm just really enthused about learning as much as I can before I leave this earth, about the man and the family. It was so much that I didn't know that I know now, and it's just adding, it's just adding up, and I'm just driven by this thing, man.
That's it, man. And I want to say real quick to the audience that we do have two authors on here. We got Brother David, Minister David Hill, and Brother Stewart. Both of them are authors. They have books. And matter of fact, Brother Stewart has several books that you may want to check into on Amazon. Brother Stewart, real quick, tell us how we can get a hold to your book, man.
You can get a hold to my book, really going to my website, www.stewartmcclain.com.
All right.
And my books and all my information is on there. I have a course too that's free to teach you how to write and self-publish your book that I just came out with last week. So
most definitely. And then Minister David, you also have a workbook. So how can they get a hold to that workbook?
Yes, you can go to Amazon, and the name of the workbook is Man versus Manhood. And I also have 3 other workbooks that I'm working on now. I just haven't published them yet.
All right. So so, brother, I'm coming to you, Brother Ryan. You gonna close us out, right? And so, Brother Wimbley, you offer a lot of services, man, to the community in the IT world. How can someone get in touch with you if they need some help?
You can look up Open Source IT online, and you can also I can give my number for the business. It's 314-600-2997. We do computer repair, we do instruction, and we also sell systems as well.
Right. Brother Ryan, and we're going. I want you to close us out with this conversation, man. And this conversation, what's your why? For the work that you do and the life you live, and give us that final thought.
Okay. My why is simple, bro. But before I do that, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be on here, and I'm so proud of all of you brothers and what it is that you're doing for our community and our people. Please continue to stay strong. Reach out if you need. Let's stand together, and let's make sure that we make tomorrow a better tomorrow for our children and beyond. My why is simple. I owe. My mother sacrificed way too much for me not to do better at life. My family dedicated way too much and sacrificed way too much for me not to do better. People in my neighborhood, the neighbors, my teachers, even some of my best friends. There were people who invested in me. I owe. So, and because of that, I need to pass that, or need to pay it forward. I need to make sure that I am trying to create a space that was made for me, so that as tough as it may have been growing up, my childhood was fantastic to me. But I also didn't know anything else other than, as what was stated before. So my why is to basically pay what I owe and make sure that whoever it is I'm passing it for, which I'm hoping is my son, will do the exact same, so we can continue to grow as a community. I was trying to think of something, man. I was trying to play funny earlier, and I was trying to think of something that was a little bit more humorous, right? So, if you all haven't picked up on it by now, my approach to things is to stop relying on others and rely on ourselves, right? That's kind of how I kind of go with it. I have some nerd tendencies, right? I like to watch superhero cartoons, right? And some of them are like more adult like, right? So the X-Men, they had this episode where the villain was actually getting the best of them. He was taking them out one by one, right? Until it came down to the last fight. And it was only like 4 of them, and it was still one of him. And he was about to go down, and he said something to me that really stood out. He said something, I think it was like, hold on, I know, I got it on my phone. Where is it? I apologize. I want to read it just the same way that it was told. Oh, so as he was going down, he said, you call yourselves a team, a family, but a family that cannot save itself merely works together to die alone. There's so much power in us, and it's untapped. I feel like we are this close to making a major difference, not just for us, but for the generations after us. And all it takes is the will and to show up.
Man, I'm telling you. For those of you who joined us, man, we appreciate you being a part of No More Hiding in this episode of, Pillars of the Community. These are Black men that's speaking. So before you sign off, I want you to hit that subscribe button. Please subscribe to this channel. Please share this video. Please share whatever it is that, whatever method, and join us. Right, as we close our episode, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to our incredible guest, Brother David Hill, Brother Stewart McClain, Brother Baba Kelly Wimbley, and Brother Ryan Smith. Thank you so much for being here. Your insights and experiences and dedication to uplifting our community is truly inspiring. To our listeners, thank you for joining us for this robust conversation about Black male leaders. I hope you're walking away with something that's going to give you a new perspective or actionable ideas. It's important that you remember that change starts with each and every one of us. Whether you're mentoring a young person, volunteering in your neighborhood, or simply spreading the word about a positive work, make sure that every action counts. If you found today's conversation valuable and the discussion was enriching, I encourage you to share this episode with your friends, family, colleagues. Please put it out on your social media. Right, we're going to be back here in 2 weeks, September the 19th, and we're at 8 p.m. and we're going to have a conversation with a couple leaders in the criminal justice system, in the law enforcement system, and these are Black men leaders. And the conversation is going to look at beyond the badge, Black men confronting systemic inequities, because there's a double marginalization that they're dealing with in the community. Right. This upcoming episode is going to be an eye-opening discussion about Black law enforcement officers and the unique challenges and perspectives that they deal with. Until then, I want to thank you again for just being here. We live by our motto, my manhood, my mission. It's a call to embrace our authentic selves and the responsibility that comes with it. We believe in the power of engaging, educating, and empowering our communities to keep striving, to keep growing, to keep moving forward. Because we know that no more hiding is important, because you can't reach your full potential if you're hiding. Thank you again for our listeners. And remember, my manhood, my mission.